Y'all know who this is. This is Mr. Menifee, 2025. Today, we get ready to do our Pinpoint podcast. And instead of guests, we're going to have a co-host introducing you guys to somebody very, very special. Got a very great story that y'all will be very interested in between her and her husband. Their name is the Real Street Legal Media. Real Street Legal Media. And when we go on today, we're going to be asking questions about their journey to where they came from and where they are to this day. So we're going to do something special today with the Pinpoint podcast. Y'all know we always feast. So we're going to get ready to feast. And after the feast, we're going to sit down, we're going to have a podcast with the Real Street Legal Media team as our co-host. And we're going to have a good topic. Y'all know with Pinpoint Podcast, all things in with real estate and never, ever controversial. You got enough negative stuff out there. But y'all know me, this is Mr. Menifee. Let's have us a great time. And y'all know how I do it. See you at the show. Today, Pinpoint Podcast is joining with Real Street Legal Media. And we're going to have us a good time. Y'all know everything about Pinpoint. We got a feast. You know what I'm talking about? We got a feast and we got to drink water. If that's what you want to believe in the cup. So, anyway, let's go over there what we're going to feast on today. Now, the food was prepared by the head master chef, JL. Y'all get that? Head master chef, JL. Not the HNIC, but the HMC. Yeah, I got that shit right. Well, y'all know what it is. All right, this right here is a 15 bean soup that was prepared by these hands. That's a 15 bean soup that was prepared. And y'all see everything is cooked right here. That's your rice. We got your collard greens. Got the collard greens prepared by my line cooks. Let's go over here. Yeah. So, you know, we always ask our guests what they want. But since we partnered with the people without being a guest, but as a co-host, they know what the hell they want, so I made them some baked chicken. Got baked chicken because they love chicken. Then we smoked some chicken right there on the pit. We got smoked chicken here. We got smoked lamb. You know, when you're from Texas, you do everything smoking big. And I'm from Texas. And then we got the smoked salmon. Everything smoked around here. Because when you from Texas, you be smoking. And the only people who could smoke like this, you gotta be from Texas, and you gotta have a label of the head master chef, JL. If they don't got that label and I ain't give it to them, don't let them lie to y'all and say that's what they are too. Because I am the head chef. Everybody, beans and rice, beans and rice. Today, y'all know who I am, Mr. Menifee, and it's the Pinpoint Podcast. Today, we got a special, not a guest, but a co-host. Real Street Media, Real Street Legal Media will be co-hosting with us today. We got some great people that's going to be speaking about their life, about the things that they've gone through, about the challenges they've been in, and how they conquered it without an excuse. You know what I always say, Mr. Menifee says, when you give excuses, you try to give an excuse to justify your reasoning for not doing what it is you need to be doing and not doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing. You know, we don't give excuses around here. And today our guest is, we have Sean McCullough and his wife, Serena Nunn McCullough. Serena Nunn, the brand. That's what we're going to talk about today. And the things that she went through and the things that got her here today. And then we're going to talk about Sean's background as well. So y'all know with Pinpoint, it's always real estate. Y'all know the vibe. So let's just jump right into it. First, I'd like the introduction. I'd like them to introduce yourself. Can you introduce yourself? Well, let's go with him. You know, we men first round here.
Whatever. Go ahead, bye.
We try to start a fight on set off top. Well, what's happening, everybody? I'm Sean McCullers. I'm a retired federal agent and also an attorney here in Atlanta, known for my civil rights litigation work prior to Real Street Legal Media becoming the entity.
Hello, everyone. I am Serena Nunn McCullers. I am also an attorney. I have a very interesting background and story. That's what Mr. Menifee will get into in a little bit, but that's pretty much it. I'm just a criminal justice advocate.
Criminal justice advocate. So let's talk about the criminal justice advocate first. Before we gotta go there, we just gotta know, how did you guys meet?
Actually, we met. He was just basically he was hunting me down. That's what happened. No, I'm just playing. But no, we ended up, he was in school. He was in school and he was interning where I was working.
What type of school?
Law school.
Okay, law school.
He was in law school, and he was interning, and he interned for my supervisor. She was teaching a trial advocacy class, right? And she asked him to come intern, but he was a part-time interner. He wasn't really there. He was only there a couple times a week, but I worked in the public defender's office. And yeah, that's where we met. We were in the office working, and we kind of had conversations and stuff, and then I saw him, and then I didn't see him anymore, but we ultimately ended up.
So kind of like at work?
Kind of like at work.
I mean, you was in school, but you was interning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was interning.
That's how you remember it?
She was talking trash. You already know what time it was. So, yes, I did intern with the Fulton County Public Defender's Office at the time, that particular summer, and I was working between the jail and the office downtown. And I was actually minding my business like I do. And of course, she came over and started talking trash in front of one of the senior ladies that was in the office over there.
So she pursued you?
Yes, sir.
Well, you know what?
Let's keep it a stack.
That's based on somebody's point of view, right? That's somebody's perception. But that's not really what happened.
I don't think
one of the ladies that I worked with, Miss Edith, an older lady, they were having a conversation.
You're going to do the woman thing. The woman thing don't let nobody finish, and then they just interrupt. So go ahead and do the woman thing, because he was talking.
He was finished, but I had to go ahead and tell the truth. Were you not finished?
That was the truth.
Well, anyway, like I said, but we were talking, Miss Edith and him were talking, and I asked him, was he truly interested in indigent defense? And that's kind of how that conversation kicked off.
And she was talking trash because she heard Miss Edith and I talking about the fact that I had, prior to that, been a federal agent. So her interjection,
basically eavesdropping.
Right, she was ear hustling. So her interjection was to say something smart. If you know her, you already know what time it is. Something sarcastic. Talking about I wasn't really there for indigent defense since I was a law enforcement guy. Well, so then I had to lay it down Philly style and give her that answer. You dig?
So how you figure that? Because he was law enforcement, he wasn't there for the indigent.
It's not that I didn't think that. I just needed to hear if I wanted to read his whole demeanor and hear his answer to know if he really was, because there's a lot of posers that come through the public defender's office. Sometimes people are there for reasons that, you know, aren't really connected with, like they don't have that true passion to help people who don't have
whether he had
financial means.
So whether he had that passion or not, you was prior to his business because you had an eye interest into him, and you needed a reason to justify your excuse to talk to him, and you felt that way. That was your end, and then you put it back on him. Because it sounded like to me you was minding his business talking to the lady.
Well,
you had the eye interest, but you opened up. He was in high pursuit of you, but you was actually in high pursuit of him.
No, but really, that whole office was my business, so I could interject anywhere that I felt like.
But we just talking about
now you hear it coming out, right? She thinks you the boss.
Now that's an attorney
Right. She tried to spin that thing real nice.
Nah, but it was. But he had his answer was, I believe, was passionate and very intelligent, and just kind of gave me a glimpse into what type of person he was. And further discussions, he just had, you know, that character, the loyalty, and all those types of qualities that, you know.
Well, you know, I always say God don't make no mistakes.
Facts.
So that's why he just took it. But
I agree.
He also didn't make a mistake for you being here today to tell your story, but to have the truth come out that you really need to just say, before we continue, I did pursue him.
No, I can't. See, then I wouldn't be telling the truth. I wouldn't. I didn't have to. I didn't have to pursue it. No, I didn't have to pursue him. It was just one of them things that.
Well, y'all married today.
We are married today, and I, for real, my point of view, he was pursuing me. He's the one that gave me his phone number. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the reality.
We ain't
But
doing
there
that
you go.
one.
No.
Here we go.
You ain't talking about Jada's phone number. You ain't have to answer the call. Y'all know y'all women that gave our phone numbers did answer.
See, she wouldn't take you down that road. I was trying to let her go. I was trying to let her live. Let's keep it a stack. So look, we talking.
But the whole point is.
No, we talking. We leaving the office one day. We walking out. You know, we at the jail, so you got to go through all the nonsense to get out. So I didn't have a pass to get in or out. So I was asked her to let me out. So we having a conversation. What have you? Get to the last door. I'm like, all right. So look. It was good talking to you. You know, if you ever want to reach out, here's my number. I gave her my number.
That was it.
But this is after the initial, right? So I go about my business. I'm doing what I do. Part-time summer internship. I'm chilling. She never called, so I wasn't, you know, it is what it is. All right. So I'm in the office one day. I'm heating up my lunch. I'm sitting in the break room. I just sat down to eat. Guess who popped through the door? Talk about, hey.
The pursuer.
Right.
Bam. It was me.
Didn't I tell you to call me? Oh no, she said, did Ken tell you what I said? That's the guy that I was interning with. Right. I look up, I start laughing. Because the way she came in there, she kicked the door in, essentially talking trash.
Did.
So I'm like, yo, I said, you know what? He did. And, you know, I kind of forgot. I got busy.
He thought
she
it
was like, so I'm going to give it to you one more time. You better call this time. So I started laughing again. Then she started busting on me, talking about, you little old plate over there, you think you can cook, huh? Most definitely. She said it did smell good, though. Yeah. So that's how that thing went.
But you told me that you thought it was the other Serena.
But see, it's all equal up into using high pursuit.
You know what? Either way it worked out good. So whether I was pursuing or he was pursuing or we both was pursuing,
I mean,
at the end of the day.
It makes a difference. The relevancy is because you could share and enlighten how God done bless you.
Oh, 1,000.
Done bless you with a man that you pursued versus pursued you.
That's not, but see, that ain't my understanding.
Man took it to church right
look,
there.
That's not my understanding. I can't agree to that or with that because that's not how it happened. That's not my POV. It's not. But either way.
You know, we living in the day of my truth, right?
No, that's the truth.
That's like it's 3 points to an argument, right? No, actually, they're the facts, and whether you interpret them one way or the other is a different question, but the facts are the facts.
See, the facts.
God bless you. Those are facts.
Right, no. The facts are, just as he stated until he got to the part about the phone number, and he was like, oh, I thought it was the other Serena. But that is, all that happened just like that.
Well,
he
that
gave
was
me
my
his
first
number
time
for
hearing that one, though.
Yeah. No, but I mean, that's what really happened.
The other Serena?
Yeah. There was another supervisor there whose name is Serena as well.
But see, you didn't open up, but it was two Serenas.
I didn't really need to because I didn't go that deep into the story at first until you asked your follow-up questions. You see what I'm saying? So when you did that, then that brought out all that, and now you know this.
See, that's the beauty of this. I get to debate with two attorneys. I get to fuck with y'all.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, man. Why does it give you a lawyer too? So stop
I'm
playing.
not no lawyer.
All day.
But nah, I just like to know that you know how y'all met because
Right.
y'all a beautiful couple. Y'all are strong
Thank
together.
you. Yeah.
And then y'all started off like you say, you was an intern.
Yes.
So you hadn't passed the bar yet.
No.
As well as was you.
No, I had not passed, but I was actually working as a legal assistant at the time.
Also, both of y'all was in school.
No, I was working, and he was in school.
Okay. Oh, so
She
you had
finished
completed
before
school.
me.
Yeah.
You was studying for the bar.
Yeah, actually, I was at that time.
So we're gonna jump back. You thought about becoming an attorney because of your journey. And your journey started in Minnesota, Minneapolis.
Right.
So let's tell us about your great journny that started back in the 1980s.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then we're gonna lead up.
Okay, so actually my desire to become a lawyer, like who inspired me really was my Uncle James, right? That was my mom, one of my mom's younger brothers. When I was a kid, he was very, very active in our community and with our black community, our Black Community Center, right? It was called The Way, and there used to be the director of the Way was Spike Moss, who's very well known in Minneapolis, and he's done tons and tons of things there for our community to make sure he's fought for our rights in our community. And my Uncle James used to work there as well, but I used to watch him, when we were kids, doing different things in the community and standing up for us. And he used to always tell me, "You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a lawyer." And then my other family members used to tell me that. So I think that was already embedded in me from a young age, and as I got older, I think that was just my natural purpose, that I liked fighting for people, defending others, and I think that's where it initially came from.
And then you were you special. The reason you're special, everyone is special. First of all, I don't never like to say one person more special than the other, but your situation, your background is, I'm gonna say, special because you got a clemency and a pardon. But before the clemency, for the pardon, before you become an attorney, the inspiration was set there. The seed was planted.
Absolutely.
By your Uncle James.
Yep.
However, the seed was planted, it was getting water, but it put on pause because now the experience is coming, and God said, "Hey, I got something else for you to go. I need to make sure you're going to be ready to go do what I want you in the future." And what was that? Without me want to say it, I want you want to say your travel.
Absolutely. In the late 80s,
1980s.
There you go, 1980s, Mr. Menifee, you're right. I was arrested and convicted in federal court for conspiracy to distribute drugs, which was cocaine, and I received a 16-year sentence. I ended up serving almost 11 years in federal prison when President Clinton commuted my sentence. I got out. I finished up my degree, my undergraduate degree, and then I went to law school, and I studied and failed the bar a few times before I ultimately passed it. And once I passed the bar, I started working in the public defender's office as an attorney.
But how was that 11 years, 11 and a half, 12, almost 12 years, in being incarcerated away from your family at a young age? How old were you?
I was 19.
19 years old?
Yeah, when I
think you got caught in that system where it was a lot of young women, because a lot of young women didn't go to prison back in them days. However, you got caught in the system where they start convicting and charging the males' girlfriends, wives, or whatever that was. So you got kind of caught up in that situation right there. And when you got caught up into that, how did you feel, knowing, because you wasn't per se a drug dealer, right?
Right. I mean, I don't look at it as piecemealing out my conduct or activities. I was guilty in a lot of different ways as well. So I don't never pass that off on anybody.
Because you had the knowledge.
Yeah, I had the knowledge and I was involved. I did things that contributed to the overall conspiracy as well. But what I'm saying is that for me, it was devastating because I think that what you don't realize when you're young, and again, you mentioned the time frame, right? We're talking about the late 1980s, right? Where we have this huge influx of drugs that's being funneled into every community across the country, every black community across the country, right? And it sort of became the norm. So you have high crack addiction going on in your neighborhood. You have everybody who's not basically using drugs, selling drugs, right? And there's money that's plentiful for a lot of young folks and money that you had never had access to before or ever seen before. And a lot of people, including myself, we were caught up in that era and that time. And, I was one of the few young ladies in my community that ended up getting arrested and being convicted in federal court.
But it sounds like the one thing that they taught you, the one thing they teach you in jails across America, where a lot of people don't carry it on their first go around, but accountability. It seems like you accepted your accountability, right? In the beginning. How long did it take for you to accept the accountability and say, I'm not going to blame nobody else for the transgressions I made. I made them, I'm here for them, and I'm going to deal with it. And then you start focusing that energy of being incarcerated away from your loved one, because you got a strong family base, your mother, your brother, your sisters, your uncles, your aunts, your friends.
Right.
So at what point you say, hey, let me change this around and not let me point the finger like everybody else in here talking about I ain't do it.
For me, I think as I matured, because don't forget, I went there when I was young. So I was young, in there being young, right? And at some point for me, early on, I started going to school.
Because when you went, it was co-ed, right?
Well, that was one of the facilities.
Okay, but I was just saying back in them days, it was co-ed.
Yeah, one of the facilities I was in was co-ed, but I only stayed there for a couple months, and then I went to another, because they were closing that facility down. I went to another facility that offered college courses. So as soon as I got to that facility, I started taking college courses. So I was going to school early on when I was in there, trying to continue and finish my education. But I think over time, as I became more mature as a woman, I began to understand that it was important to, own your stuff and move forward. Get your plan so when you hit the ground, you can hit the ground running. And I think for me, that's kind of how.
Under all the influences that you had being young, you're in there with a lot of other young women, not too many blacks, right?
No, there was a lot of black people in prison.
I thought there was a lot of others in there.
It was multicultural. It was a lot of people in there, yeah.
Okay. But I know in the men prisons there's a lot of black.
Yeah, but it was a lot of black women in there for sure. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what we're gonna do, because I'm leading up to that, to see just the opposite side of life. Your husband came from.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You share the same story, same career. However, his story was a little different. So after this break, Pinpoint Podcast gonna come back and continue to speak with
Serena
and Sean.
What's the name of the company?
Real Street
Legal Media.
Nah, I ain't going in front. I was drinking. I kind of forgot. Hey, we'll be back at Pinpoint.
Gave me his phone number at the jail, right? I meant to call. I was planning on calling him, but I was driving and I had a red Solo cup.
Oh, back when the Blackberries.
And I had when the Blackberries. Are you getting this down? Okay, good. So I had this red Solo cup. Call me hood if you want to, but it was full of water in my center console. And I was driving and I was talking to my other brother Sale at home in Minneapolis, and then I put my phone down and it went in the water. And I was like, oh damn! And I couldn't get his number, so I had to go through the attorney that he was working with primarily, Ken. I'm like, yo, when you talk to him, tell him to call me, and he never called me. So that's
it's
why.
What we say. Thank you.
Wait a minute, no, but it was a mutual.
No, you pursued him.
wait a minute, I'm not gonna deny, look, I'm happy to have pursued this man right here. You understand what I'm trying to say? But I show him, I stand on business with that, right? But what I'm saying
Hey, Sean, I just need to hear it.
but what I'm saying is that's why I kicked that door in when I saw him in there like, oh, here he go, because I couldn't get in touch with him. And I kicked the door in there and came into the cafeteria and talking about what you in here eating. Didn't I ask you to call me? That's how that happened.
The gangster, look, Sean, you ain't tell me the gangster came out of
I told her, I said that. She thought she was broke.
He wasn't paying me. He wasn't paying me no attention. He started laughing, right? Exactly.
But see, that's a beautiful story.
Whatever it was.
That's what it was.
I know. I'm talking about the omnibus bill and all that stuff. I know, but I'm just saying.
We ain't gonna get on that, but just say that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Without getting into all that, what I'm saying is
I'm gonna get into all that.
Well, but what I'm saying is.
So he kind of owed you that, really. He owed you and a lot of other people that.
Look, I mean, if that's your perspective or your opinion, then that's what it is. But for me, all I'm thinking about at that time was getting out.
Welcome to the new townhome residence coming soon, Pinpoint Park. These modern luxury units will be located on Butner Road in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, just minutes away from the downtown area and the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. The 7 units will include an open floor plan, rooftop patio, 3 bedrooms with 2 masters, and so many more luxurious details. For more information on Pinpoint Foundation's latest development, please visit pinpointfoundation.org. And for interest in pre-sales, please visit our website, pinpointbrokers.net. We hope your new home awaits you.
All right, y'all. Y'all know we kind of old school over here, so, you know, like, welcome back, Carter. Welcome back. Here we go
Yes.
with Pinpoint Podcast and Real Street Legal Media. So we left out on speaking with you, Miss Serena, when you was talking about basically accountability, accepting what it is you did, not giving no excuses to justify your reasoning on why you are in your current situation. So then you say, okay, at the end of the day, I'm here. Let me make some positive out of it, because I'm around a bunch of negative. You're truly in the den of iniquity, the den of wickedness. What can I do to make myself a better situation so I won't have to come back here?
Real talk.
That
Yes.
mindset was where before I go to the next?
Just like you said, I mean, just trying to make sure I could shore up what I could and, you know, put myself in the best possible position that I could be in. I mean, labeling it the den of iniquity, I mean, it probably was, but I probably was in that den too a little bit while I was in there, you know what I'm saying? But just figuring it out, figuring it out, but
it was there, when the den of iniquity is, everything is wicked.
Of course.
It's not a bunch of positive that's producing out of that, and you manage, the reason why I said the den of iniquity, when you go to iniquity, what is the definition of iniquity? It's wickedness.
Right.
Evil, vile, using that beast of the belly.
Right.
And for you to say, at some point, whether it was one day, whether it was 3 years, you say, let me change. Let me redirect my step and realize why I'm here. Okay, the seed started getting watered again. That wasn't you. That was God. Because see, what people don't realize about testimonies, everybody think the testimony is for them to tell people about their story, but it's never our story.
Absolutely.
God take his children and he gonna put you through what he gonna put you through, so you can get a testimony for him.
Absolutely.
See, but it ain't never for you. But he just gotta use a vessel to make sure that you deliver the story that he wants you to deliver to show he real. So when I say using the den of iniquity, he could have put you there because ain't nobody promised to come home. Death is, you know what they say, death is around the corner. You can't never say what you're going to get up today and go do tomorrow, because ain't no day promise with you. That's why he say today, if you will say today.
That's right.
Because tomorrow's not promised. The next minute, second, or hour is not promised. So that's why I called it the den of iniquity.
No, that's a very good description, right? But what I will say is this. All along my journey, right, during the time that I was locked up, God was always placing people in my path, always. Even when you're among so much negativity, he would always put somebody there, like it would be, this one older black lady that I dealt with out of Chicago. She was in there, and anything you needed to know about finances, you could go talk to her about it, right? There was another lady, she was an accountant. You needed to know information about stuff like that, go talk to her. But I'm just saying, there were so many different people. I had spiritual people in there. Like, God was just constantly looking out for me and taking care of me, period. He just, everywhere I went, he always made a way for me to be within the presence of people who could pour into me. Right. And I think that latching on to some of the older ladies who were in there, I mean, I hung with my own crowd, but latching on to some of the older ladies that were in there, they definitely poured into me.
Right. I don't think it was them, and I don't think it was you. I think everything I blame on God. No,
that's what I'm saying. God makes a way because he uses people.
You don't look like no type of person that's going to latch on to nobody. But that's the word you use.
No. I'm saying when I say latch on, I mean it is. But when I say latch on, what I mean is, you begin to interact with people, right?
I understand what you're saying. Right. But the latch on, I still like to say, you kind of design your destiny. However, the guide comes through that discernment within.
Absolutely.
Which goes to this with the discernment of you in high pursuit of your husband, with you in denial, but right now in high pursuit, we're going to switch to him. But the thing is, you at, and you often see this a lot, where you would have either a man or a woman on one side of the track, meaning incarceration, and you got a man or a woman on the other side of the track that's in the judicial system, be there an attorney, be there a prosecutor, be there ASSU, AUSA, be there a judge or whatever, they opposite a track. So here it is, you, Sean, opposite. Yeah. Y'all met in the same environment where it was legal. Now, before you jump into that, I always like to go to the background story. How did you grow up? And to get to you, because you don't look like you grew up in no cul-de-sac. No disrespect, yeah, you might have. I said what you don't look like.
I most certainly did.
Image is that damn thing.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, so you ain't grow up in no cul-de-sac.
No.
So how you say, instead of going the route Serena took, your wife, I'm gonna go a different route.
Like you said before, it's always God's plan, but I came up in West Philly in the projects. And the neighborhood outside the projects where my grandmother lived, still in West Philly, right by the Man Music Center. In 80s and 90s when I was coming up, it was when, you know, the crack epidemic hit. So all the people I knew in the neighborhood was either involved in selling drugs or using drugs. My grandfather was a cop. And he was a black police officer in the 50s and 60s. And one day,
when they couldn't be cops.
right.
1950.
Right.
1950.
1950, but
Yeah.
Elisha didn't play no
Thank you.
games. Absolutely zero. None. But I used to spend time with him because he would keep me. This is when he retired. He started working overnight, so he would keep me for my mom when she was in nursing school. I would go with him in the mornings, go to his crib. He'd be like, look, I'm gonna take a nap. Here go your things, do your thing. Don't make too much noise till I get up. Turn this jazz on, nod out for a minute. So then he get up, now we going somewhere to get a grub in the hood, right? Over 52nd Street, go get some fish and grits, and we kicking it, me and my grandpa. So I had a real unique bond with him. When I was 3, I got burned by acid. I had a scar on my face. And I remember when I came home, I was in the hospital over Christmas, because I remember the Flintstone special was on TV.
Tom and Jerry,
Right.
too. No, I'm just saying.
So I'm at the crib in spring, it's about springtime, so he come to the house and he had a box with him. And in that box, he had 2 summertime police caps, you know, with the vented top. And he gave me that, man, he turned me out. From that point forward, I knew I was gonna be in law enforcement. So if
At
you
3?
talk to, yeah, if you talk to my family, they'll tell you, I was always constructing some kind of gun belt on myself.
You knew you wanted to
Cops
lock
and
folks up
robbers.
at 3 years old.
Yes, sir.
That's a hell of a thought
Yes,
to be a
sir.
black man.
But I didn't look at it that way, though.
I'm just
right.
saying, well,
I
I
looked
just-
at it as my hood don't have to look like this,
Right.
And my hood don't have to be like this. So some cops make a difference, and that's what I saw. And then my favorite aunt became a cop, which is his daughter. My mom's next youngest sister. She's right under my mom, my Aunt Michelle. So
You said you was a federal agent.
yeah. So what happened is my Aunt Michelle, I was planning to go to Philly and be a Philly cop with my aunt, my grandfather. I got a bull, my man Art, who you sat down with at Shy's house.
Right.
So Art calls me, right.
Gun specialist.
Yes. Well, somewhat. I'm the specialist. He's just a user.
Kind
right?
of like Shy as a line cook or chef.
However you would have framed it, I'm the expert, right? So he's calling me. I'm back in school. I had my first daughter, right? I had my first daughter, so I was working and going to school. I get home in the morning.
Hold on, sorry, I need to interrupt. You know that I am the master
Y'all really
chef.
gonna let somebody interrupt me? Right.
I'm the master chef. So I taught JL how to
my
cook back in the
Lord.
20s.
Go ahead, baby.
So,
Boy, line cooks always got a calendar.
listen, so I come home. I had worked the overnight shift. I came home. My phone rang. He wakes me up. I answer the phone like, yo, what's up? Oh, call this number. Call what, man? You know I'm asleep. Man, shut up and call this number. Only certain people can talk to me like that. So I called the number when I get up, and it was the U.S. Border Patrol. I didn't even at the time, you know, we don't see Border Patrol roaming around in their vehicles in the city, even though
We don't know none that we grew up to know of them.
Right.
I didn't
right.
either, at least back in the 1990s.
Yeah. So, you know, it is what it is. So I make the call, and I forget about it. They send me the packet in the mail. I'm going to school. I'm raising this new baby. I wasn't really thinking about it. And then the night before the exam, at the time, my daughter's mom said, hey, you gonna go take this test tomorrow? I was like, I didn't even look at the packet. I opened the packet up about 11 o'clock, studied through it for about 2 hours, and then I went to sleep for a couple hours, and I went and took the test. I thought I failed the test because I was asleep on most of it, right?
Right.
But I finished it, and then I just went to sleep. So I'm getting ready to leave as they're calling out names because they were doing expedited hiring. And at the time, I already had an application in with Philly, and my second application with Philly, and then an application in with Wilmington PD. And I get up to leave. I'm like, there's no way I passed this test. I was asleep. I'm going. As soon as I stand up, they call my name. I was like, oh, okay. So take you home, send you home with that SF-86, that thick book. You gotta write your life story in. So I fill that out and be back the next day. Within 5 months, they called me back. They was like, you want a job? Be in San Diego in 2 weeks. I'm in school at the time, so I called the lady. I'm like, listen, you know, I got maybe 6 weeks before the end of the semester. I had my associates. You know, can I defer? Can I come with it? She was like, yeah, you can defer. She's like, but if you defer, there's no telling whether it's going to stay open or not. They might close it at any time. So I decided to leave school, took the job, went to California. And then I EOD'd November 4th of '96.
Right.
And that's how it stayed with Border Patrol.
1996.
1996.
So,
yeah.
so your first law enforcement job was a federal agent.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you wasn't never on the streets as a. I mean, you was on the street, but I'm talking about.
No, never went back to Philly.
Police in the police department. So you was never that.
No, Border Patrol does quite a bit of regular police work.
No, I can understand that.
Okay.
No, I don't understand. I'm saying.
Right.
I can understand the intricacy of it, as far as it's just. I thought you would have to graduate to that. You said
No.
you skipped over all that, passing the test when you was asleep.
Yeah, some agencies do require. They won't tell you that on the application, but they will only take people with experience.
Right.
So a lot of federal agencies, just like degrees, there are certain jobs that they won't give you without a degree in the federal agency, in terms of federal law enforcement.
But I guess they feel if you could pass this test, you should have a degree.
Well, the Border Patrol, not necessarily. Civil service tests are usually pretty simple, but the Border Patrol had an artificial language component in their test. So in that booklet that I forgot to look at, there was an artificial language in that.
Without disclosing, what's one of your wild, almost dangerous stories that you could tell?
I don't know. I never remember stuff like that. Everything we did at Border Patrol was kind of dangerous because a lot of times we worked by ourselves, unless I was at my regular station. So my regular station is a checkpoint station on I-5 in California, right by Camp Pendleton, between San Diego and LA. Border Patrol does everything now. We do city patrol. We'll sometimes link up with the sheriffs and do runs with the sheriffs, plus the checkpoint that they run, which is 6 lanes. And then you've got the Camp Pendleton. We get illegal entries through Camp Pendleton, so we're in the mountains over there chasing people down or chasing down drugs or what have you. But I would detail out a lot too, because at that time Border Patrol was getting overrun in pretty much most stations. So I would detail out to Eastern California and work out there, Calexico and Calipatria, those kinds of places. And usually out working out there, I was by myself. Or I might have one other agent with me if I was at a checkpoint.
So you're a federal agent on Border Patrol. You in your mindset of catching criminals, catching illegal aliens.
Yeah, and everything.
And then here you end up in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
And you meet Serena.
Yes.
So you thought you was catching an illegal alien and you wanted to capture that?
Not quite. So by that time, I had actually retired. I retired from the Air Marshal Service. So after 9/11, I left Border Patrol and I went over to the Air Marshal Service. And I was working out of Philly. And then I developed occupational illness. They were flying us too much, and we didn't know it. So I think I was the first one to win a case against the agency for an occupational illness. And they wanted to get rid of me.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't shut up. Yeah, because they were getting us sick, and there were a lot of guys getting sick, some guys that lost their lives. You know, a lot of flying so much and not on the schedule that the FAA sets is extremely dangerous. So you got people with onset early and aggressive cancers, barrel trauma. What I got was DVT, deep vein thrombosis, which
That's another podcast.
yeah,
Right.
It is. That's what it was. So I retired to Atlanta.
Oh, you said you retired to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And when did you say, you know what? I done went from being a federal agent to an air marshal now I want to carry around to being an attorney?
I had already intended to go to law school when I finished my career.
Okay.
But I think God really knew I wouldn't leave. I would have stayed. I enjoyed Border Patrol, and I eventually was going to either be back there or I was going to the U.S. Marshal Service so that I could hunt the topmost 100 fugitives. That's what I wanted to do.
Ooh.
So,
Well, you know what we said earlier with you, it ain't never our plan, it's always God.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You already know what you want to do. You
Yeah.
know, like the order of Melchizedek. You know, the order of Melchizedek, if you read scripture, I'm not getting into no religion because I'm not a religion person. I am a spiritual person, not religion.
Likewise.
Order of Melchizedek, you say he knew you when you was in your father's loins. Because you do know all men and women are with their father's incubator longer than they are in their mother's incubator. We all was once feel-good nuts. And none of us.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, we
That's
all.
the reality, right?
I mean, that's the reality of it, right? So I mean, because a person will sit up and say, hey, you was with your mother for 9 months. The mother be, I carried you for 9 months. But that daddy carried you in them balls for a long time. If he was 20 years. If he was 19 years. If he was 40 years. If he was 16 years. Everything is still more than 9 months. So we often forget who that child was with longer. But the connection is there with the mother because she actually developed it. And the development of y'all relationship came from you being in that location when she was pursuing you, and you knew her background or no?
Well, she told me pretty much right away.
So you knew her background and you still had a high interest in the criminal?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because she's a person.
Interest in the criminal.
Right? So it's the character. I had lived a lot of life by that time.
Was it the character or the interest?
It was the
It
character.
was the rush.
It was the character.
It could be the rush.
No, I wasn't in a rush.
Okay.
Because I'm a pretty laid back guy most of the time.
Laid back guys drink Coke.
Do they?
Yeah, and Coke gives you a rush.
He don't drink Coke.
Not the caffeine,
Look,
but I
he
am
drinks-
on that Coke.
He might drink
Yeah.
Pepsi.
I'm just
know,
messing around.
I know.
But you know, we always go have fun with Pinpoint. But at the end of the base, before we take another commercial break, the base of it, I try to see, because y'all come from two different backgrounds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Fortunate, unfortunate, both equal fortunate. Because in math, you know, they say a positive plus a positive, they taught all of us, equals a negative, right?
Yeah.
But in real life, no, a negative plus a negative equals a positive. I'm sorry, let me
Right.
rephrase that. In math, they teach us negative plus a negative equals a positive. I don't know how you can produce a positive when you got two negatives. But in real life, y'all came together at a location where y'all identify with each other at the same goal, wanting to be attorneys. Not really just meeting, she's smelling the food, but at the same time, it really, you know, liking you, don't know how to just say I like you. So she want to just keep messing with you. Didn't I say you called me? I mean, the bully came out of it and everything. That was the bully spirit. But anyway, the thing is, well, we're going to come back to how y'all meet and then go back to how you felt when you heard the first president of the United States say, I'm going to shorten the time that was given to you, because a lot of people don't understand clemency. People think clemency is a pardon, but clemency is cutting your time. But however, how much time was cut, because federal prison, you automatically do 85% of your time.
Right.
So we got 85%, and then we multiply that 15%, and then we deduct it from the 16 years, you was at 13 years, right?
I would have been about almost 14 though. It would have been like 13.75 is what I would have had to do on that 16.
Okay, somebody gonna have to do that math, because I think it was a little less. But then you did less, so he shaved off 4 years.
Not
3
really.
years?
Not really 4. Nah, because I did almost 11. It was probably about 2.5.
So he said shaved off 2.5
Yeah,
years.
because I would have came home in 2003, but I got out in 2000. So it was like 2.5, almost 3.
Right. Did you have to write them?
You talking about to get the commutation?
Yes.
Not the president, but there's an application process. And so at that time, those were not heard of for people who were convicted under mandatory minimum.
The mandatory minimum,
guidelines.
which he put in place with Joe Biden.
Whatever it was.
That's what it was.
I know. I'm talking about the omnibus bill and all that stuff. I know, but I'm just saying.
We ain't gonna get on that, but
I know,
just say
that's
that
what I'm saying.
part.
Without getting into all that, what I'm saying is
I'm gonna
this.
get into all that.
Well, but what I'm saying is.
So he kind of owed you that, really. He owed you and a lot of other people that.
Look, I mean, if that's your perspective or your opinion, then that's what it is. But for me, all I'm thinking about at that time was getting out. However that shook out, I was grateful for it. And it didn't, I mean, it was all God's mercy and grace, and that's just how I look at it. He put people in the right places at the right time with the right strategy in the way that they thought and heard what God was saying, and that's how that happened. And I mean, that was literally, but what I'll tell you,
But that was a blessing.
Oh, it was a huge blessing, but let me say this. Before any of that ever came into play, when I first got locked up and went to prison, I would tell people that I was going to get an immediate release. So you looking like the late 1980s and 1990s.
And then 2000.
I was saying, yeah, but I was saying that already. But see, that's why you have to know that there's a lot of power in your tongue.
Yeah.
That's right, and what you say. But I always felt that from the beginning, and I believe personally that God gave me that. I believe God planted that down in my heart. That was the hope and the fuel that kept me going despite being in 1990 and 1989 and having a date that was said 2003, because what we really used to call them back then was Buck Rogers dates.
Right.
And we used to say that because of the show, right, with Buck Rogers, but the young people wouldn't really know nothing about that. But we used to call them Buck Rogers dates. But I always believed I was going to get an immediate release. Now, how that was going to happen, I ain't have a clue.
Well, he set you down to condition you. You kind of like to know what they say, not to be religion, but spiritual. Scripture tell you, Deuteronomy, what was that, chapter 8, how he put you in the wilderness for 40 years. And he fed you manna. And he wanted to know what was in your heart. That wilderness was prison for you.
For sure.
That manna was the knowledge that you gave when you opened up and listened to him, and he was able to get to you.
I would agree with that.
Learn you something. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I would agree with that.
So while you there, he said, okay, if I leave you out here, you might end up dead, on drugs, with a bunch of babies or anything. I'm going to take you right over here. You ain't understanding because his ways are not of his ways.
Right.
Of our ways.
His ways are not our ways, right.
So I'm going to stick you over here and preserve you. So when he preserved you, he molded you into back when the seed was planted.
Yep.
When your Uncle James told you he was going to be an attorney.
Yep.
See, and that goes back to what I'm going to get back to, y'all married. It goes back to how you have to have an understanding. You don't know why you're here today, but when you go back into your memory, you have to figure it out. And on Pinpoint Podcast, we're going to figure that out on the next go around. We be right back at you. Hey, we finna go get us a drink and take a bathroom break.
But the hardest part about leaving was leaving my friends there.
Right.
I mean,
well, we call friends.
no, they like my sister.
That's what I look.
Oh, okay.
Doing the woman thing.
Oh, look
The
here.
friend.
Okay, you doing the man thing.
Yeah, God made us.
Well, there you go.
Y'all from
Me
the
too.
real. Y'all are from the real. Y'all are from the real. He made us. He breathed life into y'all from our realm to be a helpmate. So the helpmate has to listen and then speak.
It all depends on what you believe. I am a spiritual person. Rebellious spirit. No, I am a spiritual person, but make your point. You were saying?
Shit.
Boss, you told you.
See, you can't be messing with people over 50. You know they have a tendency to be straight.
Welcome to the new townhome residence coming soon, Pinpoint Park. These modern luxury units will be located on Butner Road in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, just minutes away from the downtown area and the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. The 7 units will include an open floor plan, rooftop patio, 3 bedrooms with 2 masters, and so many more luxurious details. For more information on Pinpoint Foundation's latest development, please visit pinpointfoundation.org. And for interest in pre-sales, please visit our website, pinpointbrokers.net. We hope your new home awaits you.
Hey y'all, welcome back Carter here on Pinpoint Podcast. Y'all know we sitting here with
Serena.
I get them all the time.
Serena.
Real Street Legal Media.
Real Street Legal Media.
Well, I
Real
thought you
Street-
wanted our name first and then that.
Because if I say Pinpoint Podcast, you say,
Real Street Legal Media.
if I didn't say JL, you don't say.
I ain't following them rules. I thought you wanted my name.
See, that's that aggression. Son, you got to deal with that.
And we got to understand it.
Yes, we do. We have it all worked out. Because trust and believe, there's a whole bunch of aggression that come from that side too. So we're good. We're well matched.
Well, I'm sorry with bad. Right,
I
wrong,
already know.
and
Y'all try to
different.
double team me, but I got something for that at the end of this podcast, though.
Okay, that's right.
Nah, but we gonna get back to Pinpoint Podcast. We sitting here with Sean and Serena, you know, with
Real Street Legal Media.
there you go, Real Street Legal Media. I be trying to get them to say it, y'all. But we're gonna talk about what we left out is trying to connect the dots because it's often, you know, the stories are real, but it's often that you see somebody on one side of the track attracted to the other side of the track with the legal system and the criminal system, but the judicial system comes together. And we left out with you, Sean, kind of telling us how you gravitated to what you are. You started off as a federal agent to air marshal, and then, okay, I'm becoming an attorney.
Yeah.
However, the attorney was planted with the seed, like she was planted
Right.
with the seed when you was younger, because you started at 3 years old.
With the law enforcement, I didn't decide to become an attorney until I was 12.
Okay. Oh,
So,
okay.
you know, one of the reasons why we say be careful with children, right? I was passed over for valedictorian of my little 3-person 8th grade class.
So you was a smart kid.
And
Oh, he's
branded.
smart. He's extremely
Because
smart.
it was racism. And that was my first experience with racism. And I don't fault my mom or my grandmother for it, but I didn't feel like anybody fought hard enough to keep me in the spot that I had earned. So that's the first time I considered being an attorney. I said that was the last time I was going to let anybody not fight hard enough for me. So I would do it myself.
So you became an attorney basically out of frustration, like, y'all gonna take some shit from me, I'm gonna make sure y'all ass don't do what I need to. What kind of job I need? You be the attorney representative. I mean, that's what the hell I want to be.
Absolutely.
So that was that seed. See, one thing about life that I learned, y'all. A seed is planted with everything we do in life.
Yes.
1,000%.
Whether you be an attorney,
Yep.
whether you be air marshal, whether you're in real estate, whether you're a criminal, it's a seed. Even in your marriage, I often say, in your marriage, people got to realize you got to monitor things that you say
Yes.
with one another and your actions with one another. Because when you plant that seed and then you start watering and then you see that big tree outside grow, you try to figure out how it is. Motherfucker, you don't remember you planted seed back then? And then you continue to water it
Absolutely.
and to nourish it and to start doing their behavior patterns. That seed is everything in life.
Yeah.
So that seed was planted when somebody pissed your ass off and stole the Valley Victoria, and you vowed that shit, they will never take nothing from you.
That's right.
That's a diabolical seed.
Yeah.
And you sprinkled it with cayenne pepper.
There it is. But nobody ever took anything else from me.
Well spoken from a chef.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Exactly, right from the head master chef. But you see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
When you think about it, everything in life is planted with a seed to go back to your journey where you went. A person could try to make it seem like, oh, what did you go through in life and this and this. No, I made a mistake. I did this. This was my environment, and I got here. And I had to change. But the seed came back from when your Uncle James said, you and everybody else in your family, you need to be an attorney.
Right.
Because you love to argue. Like when you argue with your man for not calling you.
It is.
The argument, that was in your spirit, right?
Yeah, I've always been an arguer. But I've always been a defender of others. Always. The underdog.
So you finding out at what point her background and what intrigued you?
Pretty much immediately. I think the first weekend we kind of spent time with each other for pretty much the whole weekend. She told me her background, her history.
And I was a little like, I'm thinking, should I tell him now? Because, I didn't, especially then, like now I don't even care. But then I was a little hesitant because not just people you meet, do you just share that with them, right? But it was something special about him and just about our connection that I was like, for sure I was gonna tell him, but it was only because it was that special connection. Because, some other people you just might be like, I'm not really gonna share it because I don't know if it's gonna last, but blame it on what?
You blame it on God.
Oh,
It was always,
no, for sure God had a hand in it.
good deed that turned into something like this. And the reason why I focus, because I can focus on the background. I can focus on the story. But sometimes the story is better than the story. The story why you're here today, because often we go and reminisce off our past, when our past supposed to be left where? In the past.
In the past.
Because if you keep bringing it up to your future, sometimes God will let you know, hey, I took you through that. You shared that. Talk about your success because y'all are successful. And success is in the form of what one's mind is. Success, you got a successful marriage.
For sure.
Y'all put y'all child through school.
Yeah.
Children.
Children.
Right.
Through college. To college. Y'all are happy together. Y'all could actually spend time together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Y'all could work together.
Yeah.
You follow me? Now that's more success with everything going on in the world. We're going back to where we at, Bill Clinton, Pointe, you. How we get that from here, we're gonna go, I like to travel. That's my whole thing is traveling, so we traveling.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta go backwards to come back forward, to come to stand still.
Yeah.
So the traveling point, Bill Clinton, he
Yes.
gave you a clemency.
He commuted my sentence.
He commuted your sentence, and you had to put in an application. There was nobody special that you knew to get your application in front of nobody else's.
Well, let me say this. So, just like you said about God, just miraculously, there was a story that was written in the newspaper in Minneapolis, where I'm from, right? It's the largest newspaper, you know, in Minneapolis, in Minnesota actually, Star and Tribune. So there was a investigative journalist who wrote this story on mandatory minimums, and he interviewed me along with a whole bunch of other women who were incarcerated. And he put me on the front page of the paper. There was a young attorney, he had been a lawyer for, like a week or something like that. And he was finishing up with a client that was incarcerated in one of Minnesota's facilities. When he stopped at the gas station to fill up his rental car, he was visiting that client, finishing that up, saw the newspaper, read the story, contacted me while I was in prison and was like, hey, I think that I might be able to represent you, and that I think it's a 1 in a million shot, but maybe you could get clemency. And don't forget, clemency it's two-prong, right? Executive power is two-prong. You either have a commutation or you can get a pardon. So anyway, that's what happened. He ended up representing me on a pro bono basis, and he did the application, and he reached out to numerous people before the actual process was completed to get, to garner support and things like that for the.
And how did you feel when you was incarcerated and you got the call or the letter or whatever the protocol is to let you know, hey, you got to pack it up,
right?
Get out of here. What was you doing at that time, if you can remember?
Oh, I can remember. Yeah, I was actually in my housing unit talking to one of my friends who was an orderly, and I was called to the main administrative building, and I was like, oh man, what's going on? It's either some bad news or am I in trouble for something? I don't know. So we walked down there. The administrator calls me in, and he's like, hey, were you planning on going anywhere today? And I'm thinking to myself.
And at this time, you got 3 more years.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, he was like, were you planning on going anywhere today? I'm thinking, going anywhere today? And then everything started clicking, and I'm like, oh, you got your paperwork in, for the commutation. And so then I'm looking at him, and tears are just running down my eyes. He's like, we got a call from the White House, and there's a possibility that you could be going home. I knew I was going home, because after you've been locked up for so long and you've had all these other legal battles, what you understand is that you don't get phone calls. You get, denial letters in the mail, right?
Right.
And so I was crying and thanking God, and tried to call my family, my sister, my lawyer, my mom. Nobody answered the phone, and I ran up out of there and grabbed my best friend who was on the phone and told her, and we ran through the compound and found our other best friend and told her, and by that time it was over. Everybody in the prison knew I was going. But again, like I said, receiving a commutation for conspiracy and drug charges, that was unheard of then. I was a part of the first group of people that ever had that. Yeah, there was 5 of us.
And how long did it take after they said you was gonna be in the White House call the BOP?
Oh, I got out that same day, like within hours.
Oh,
because
they told you to
pack up. The administrator was like, I don't want this to turn into a media circus. I'm thinking to myself, though, not understanding how all that works, but I was thinking, why would it be a media circus? Not realizing anything the president does, that power of the presidency, and how it impacts everything and everybody else in our country. And that's kind of what happened. Like, it was
so that kind of overshadowed the Monica Lewinsky story with you.
I don't know if it did or it did not, because I think that was way before my time.
But it was with Bill Clinton.
I'm talking about before my commutation. I couldn't tell you, and I ain't worried about that. I was only worried about walking out those prison doors.
We just talking about the impact.
I don't know.
I felt it was an impactful thing, because at the end of the day, what you do with all your stuff? Did you give it away? Because you were there 11 plus years.
Right.
You give it away, or you took it home?
No, I pretty much walked out with, a little small box and gray sweats and gray T-shirt. That was pretty much it. Tennis shoes.
That everybody can have everything.
Take it all.
Wow. The food too?
I don't even remember if I had any food in there. Probably me and my roommate probably had food, but that was the hardest part about leaving was leaving my friends there.
Right.
I mean,
well, we call friends
No, they like my sisters.
That's what I listen to.
Oh, okay.
Doing the woman thing.
Oh, look
The
here.
friend.
You doing the man thing.
Yeah, God made us.
Well, there you go.
Y'all from
Me
the
too.
rib. Y'all are from the rib. Y'all are from the rib. He made us.
Accurate.
He breathed life into y'all from our rib to be a helpmate. So the helpmate has to listen and then speak.
It all depends on what you believe. I am a
that's the
spiritual
rebellious-
person.
no, that's the rebellious spirit.
No,
Yeah.
I am a spiritual person. But make your point. You were saying?
Shit.
Boss, you told you.
See, you can't be messing with people over 50. You know they have a tendency to be short. Basically what I was saying, you got ready to leave. Everything was gone. Got ready to leave out. Then you sit up and say, hey, I'm gone. I can't get in touch with nobody. I got to go. I got my sweats. I got this. I don't care where I'm going to go, but I got to go.
Exactly.
Did you have a mindset at 11 plus years? I'm gone. I'm glad God blessed me. What I'm going to do? Or did you have that plan?
No.
Did you have what I call a preparation?
I was ready.
Did you prepare yourself
Absolutely.
for that day that you spoke into existence on
Yep.
a daily and a continuous basis by I'm going home early?
Yeah. Oh, I was ready. I had already been accepted to Arizona State.
ASU.
Yeah, in the accounting program. And it was, I mean, just the way God works things out, I couldn't go any further. Like I had done all of the online courses that I could do, and not online, but you know, it was like through the mail back then, right?
Right.
That you would do correspondence courses is what they called them. But anyway, I had done as much as I could do without having to be present that fall. And God said on July 7th, 2000, that I would be released that day, and I was able to attend Arizona State University in person in the fall. And I ended up changing my major to political science, but I was already accepted at the school for that.
What was your first meal?
Fried chicken, fried potatoes, and corn that my mom cooked.
Right, right. Nah, you laughing. I love
I couldn't. No, that was my favorite meal. My mom, you know, she made it, hooked it up for me.
The fried chicken.
That's what I wanted. I couldn't wait to eat her food.
Lemonade, Coke, Sprite.
No, I don't even remember what I drank. I just know what food I wanted, and that's what I ate.
Cause you know with fried chicken, you always remember what it is.
No, probably with some grape Kool-Aid, to be honest.
Say we love that Kool-Aid. Love that Kool-Aid with all that sugar and
Oh my God!
in the back of the
I don't
thing.
go back to none of that no more. But
Nah, we too old for that.
right,
And then they ain't got the real food no more.
not at all.
Right. So this the thing. So you got out. You went to ASU. You done put the 11 and a half year, but you got to make sure you don't go back. You got to learn. Well, you don't. It's like riding a bike. You got to start back driving, but you went young. You got to get back accolades to everything. How hard was you? Because you got out in 2000. When they thought the world was going to come to the end. Remember that? So you got out when that happened. And then you said, okay, my days are here, I'm out. What gave you the drive? Do you remember the motor that was put in your back? I ain't gonna say the battery
Right.
or the engine, it had to be a motor.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just driven, like, for, you know, to be successful. Like, one of the biggest things is the level of accountability, like, once you get out, right? So, like, me getting out, it was important for me to do well, not just, you know, for myself on a personal level, but I'm representing a whole bunch of other women who were in the same situation as me. It wasn't unique. I wasn't unique in any way with regard to that. But if you are, you know, in our country and the way criminal justice was at that time, and you want people to, you know, start paying attention to this thing and let this benefit so, you know, like more women. And so there was a level of accountability. There was, you know, that drive to be successful, to be like, yo, all I needed is one chance. There's other women in there, they just need one chance too. So if I'm doing well, people will be more likely to, you know, support this change that's going on and, you know, bless other people with the same
Which
thing.
goes to the advocacy. or what you speak about?
I come at advocacy from a constitutional standpoint.
Right.
And if I'm doing that, constitutionality only addresses the federal government.
Right.
Right? And the systems that they've put in place. So I educate people about those systems and how they need to advocate
And
to get a
navigate
stronger position, or
Right.
either navigate the system, the part of the system that they're in that is circumscribing or shortening or abridging their rights. Right? And I can only come at that constitutionally because only the federal government can violate your civil rights, right? An entity or business can discriminate against you.
How
but
often do a black man civil rights get violated?
Every day, all day, 24/7, 365.
Every day, all
It
day.
hasn't changed.
Nobody ever does anything.
To,
It's always whose fault is it always?
well, when your rights are violated,
help me about the
when your
understanding of
rights
right
are
and
violated in
wrong.
the context of the legalities of it, it is a government institution, whether that be the police, whether that be the folks that work at the county courthouse in the deed recording room, whether it be educator or some other service that you need that they decide that they didn't like the way you came in today, and although you're entitled to this, they denied you anyway.
So is it one race, targeting one race, or is all that you could say is the federal employees, no matter what particular, you might have more than the other. Can you just say the white race target the black and brown race, or can
No.
you say some blacks also target other blacks?
Yes, because that's the system that they're in, right?
It's 'cause
So the system will allow them to discriminate against you whether they're a black employee or a white employee, right? Because the system wasn't designed to work for us.
Period.
The system was designed to work for white males. They're the only,
And-
they
and
are the,
there's just, and overall, I mean, like, that's one side, right? When he's talking about the constitutionality, but there's just pure advocacy for people, for me, who are formerly incarcerated or incarcerated, right? Somebody who is.
So what you advocate for?
But that's what I'm saying, whether they're getting screwed over by the parole board, right? Or there's a probationary issue after their release. If they have a housing issue because they're a felon or a formerly incarcerated person, they can't tap into benefits that they should be getting out here. So, you know, just advocacy overall, when you're talking about, and especially for me, people who have been formerly incarcerated, because so much of what you do on a day-to-day basis turns into permanent punishment.
So what programs do you have in place?
We don't have any programs in place, but, you know, hopefully with the podcast that we're going to put out, we will begin to develop a curriculum for different programs that, you know, we'll be able to implement different programs. But, you know, for right now, I mean, we're just looking forward to starting Real Street Legal Media so we can get visibility out there. We can start talking about these different, you know, these legal issues. We can talk about, you know, social issues. We can talk about culture. We can talk about entertainment, you know.
One thing I find, and we're going to get back to you because I got to talk about the Pointe. However, one thing I do find, us good black folk, we some great, well, let me take and remove the word. We superior talkers,
so
but we are slow walkers because we love to talk. But when it's time to walk the walk that you talk, a mass majority of us just become a conversation piece.
right.
And then we fade away. So what are you gonna do different with Real Street Legal Media that you won't be just a talker, but a walker, and you're gonna be performing where a person could say, here's a production from them, they just wasn't talkers. Because when you say you're launching it, starting now, right? Then you get people to calling you. You got so many people in prison that's getting messed over, that's not getting parole, that's not getting that. that's not getting the right time, they're getting messed over, getting sentences, they PSI reports and all that. So how are you gonna make that difference? Y'all are gonna make that difference.
Right, but you have to understand there's a difference between that. Like I don't want you to mislead you or misunderstand. The podcast is not the legal advocacy
we just talking about the
right,
program.
yeah, that's not
only the program, forget
right,
the podcast.
Right, but I'm saying, you know, the way I deal with cases, I mean, even just like my brother's case, right, is for some cases come across through different people, things you read, or somebody reaches out to you and they're like, hey, we have a specific situation going on over here. We're wondering if you're interested in helping this person, you know, and I mean, just sort of word of mouth or something you read or somebody reaching out to you. I mean, that's, to me, that's how I come into contact with most cases that we can advocate for.
Right.
And I think also, in the context of doing was in our advocacy, right? So the McCullers litigation group, artistry is our advocacy.
Period.
Right? Our artistry is our advocacy. We have, until jumping off into the podcasting and so on, we've developed and cultivated cases where people were wrong, and we took that on. We took on Friendship Baptist Church, right?
Now do y'all do this so the people can know? Do y'all do this as pro bono, or do y'all do this on retainer?
In the
That
past,
stuff was pro bono.
in the past, we've done pretty much everything pro bono.
Yeah.
Most of the people that we've helped they're indigent. They don't have the funds.
That's what you remember.
Right?
Go
She
back to the
remained at the
question?
public defender's office. Our firm, we never worked for anybody else. The initial firm I was with, we did advocacy. We did criminal advocacy, and we also did different civil rights cases coming forward. Some that we've spoken about, some that we didn't. We pulled back from the media attention purposefully so that we could advocate for people and achieve greater ends for them, so that they could. Most of it was done around fair housing and criminal cases where they weren't being represented well.
So okay, that's the vision.
Mm-hmm.
That's what your goal. Now go back to your goal and your vision. You at home. You eat your chicken. You're enjoying family. You did 11 plus years. Y'all meet. Y'all engaged, y'all indulge, y'all married. Now, cause you got the pardon while you was married. Mm-hmm. What did you seek out the pardon? What put that in your mind and say, you know what, I got a clemency? Because most people stop there because they don't know. Mm-hmm. And you being an attorney, of course, you're a little sharper, so you got to be separated from most. However, what put you in a place to say, I'm supposed to seek out a pardon? And the work that you had to put in, and what did you know you was going to get that? And how you feel? From President Obama, right?
Yeah, but
former president, because
right.
The president now is Donald J. Trump.
Right, but obviously I was ecstatic, right, when I got it. But no, I always planned to apply for a pardon, but what sort of accelerated that was when we were doing the application process to sit for the bar exam. And so we stayed up, like, I don't know, all night, like filling it out, because one of the things with the bar is,
did y'all pass the bar the same year?
The same year, but not at the same time.
Yeah, but the same year. So y'all probably been licensed the same. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just asked that question because of what you just said.
Right. So, but nevertheless, so I did the application, the pardon application, because the bar requires, if you have a felony, they require that you do, every state is different, but Georgia requires that you have to apply. It took like almost 5 or 6 years before I got the pardon after I applied for it, right?
Right.
And that was President Obama who granted the pardon.
So how did you receive that? Because I know you received the clemency when you were incarcerated.
Correct. A commutation.
Commutation.
Yes. And so the pardon I received, I mean, I was working and, living my life.
Did you get a call or got something in the mail?
No, you're saying how did I receive it that way? Oh, yeah. Actually, I got a call. I got a call from the same attorney who did my commutation request. He called and was like, it went through. Did you see it? So there, my name was on a list with all the people that morning.
So you spoke to many people. I mean, because to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, but I think I'm right, but I could be wrong. It's not many that get both.
Right.
Both clemency and pardon.
Right, not
So
many.
you got both.
Especially at the time I got mine. So let me say that
Right.
it's a little bit more common now. But at the time that
For
I
you to
got
get a
mine,
clemency and a pardon?
yeah, there's been several people that have gotten both now.
Okay.
You know, so which is a blessing in and of itself.
A true blessing.
And so, but nevertheless, yeah, at the time that I got mine, definitely. I think at the time I got mine, I was probably one of two, especially specifically black women who had received them.
Can you kind of explain the difference between a clemency and a pardon, and along with the rights? Because a lot of people have a misunderstanding. They think when you get a clemency, commutation of your sentence, they think your rights are restored. They think that you've been pardoned. Help.
Yeah, a commutation it cuts your time short, because commutations are for people who are incarcerated. And don't forget, it depends on a federal level and there's a state level. If you have a federal crime, then that has to come from the President of the United States. And then if you have a state crime, each state dictates whatever their commutation or pardon process is. And then a pardon is basically forgiveness
For all
of the
your
crime, for your crime, yeah, for the crime, for your crimes.
qualifications.
Yeah.
You had to qualify for that. And what do they look for?
I wouldn't know that. That's the process of the pardon attorney's office. I have no idea. All you can do is submit everything that you submit, answer all the questions on the application. If they have any follow-up questions, they're going to follow up with you with regard to that. But it is
And all your rights are restored.
Well, what happens is your rights, each state dictates your rights, right? So like once I received the commutation, most states automatically restore your right to vote, and then you have to, I mean, I went through some extra steps just because, but to make sure you're able to run for office and also become, that you can serve on a jury. So.
Okay. But if you get a pardon,
if you get a pardon, you still have to report the fact that you had a conviction.
No. I'm talking.
I'm saying that's what I'm trying to say. Like the pardon is a forgiveness, right? That you have. It has forgiven you for your offenses. But the thing that I found most interesting about it was, even though I have a pardon, if I'm doing anything and it asks, have I ever been convicted, I still have to. I thought prior to that, if I get a pardon, then like I don't have to say anything about it. But you do have to. But you put with
so
that.
they still hold you accountable.
You still have to say that you were convicted, but you were pardoned. So, I mean, it carries a different weight with it when you say that you're pardoned. But yeah, you still have to honestly answer any question like that.
Wow.
Absolutely. So, nevertheless, I was extremely ecstatic, and like you said, there weren't many people, and like I said at the time that I received the pardon, there weren't many people who had received both. So I considered myself extremely blessed.
So extremely blessed. So, but your life have changed. You've been able to do other things, and then you was an attorney. As an attorney, even though you was compensated, you still was limited of certain things you could do too, correct?
No, the commutation process, I mean, each state dictates how the bar, what the parameters are for you to be able to practice law in a particular state. So I was actually practicing when I received my pardon.
You was practicing when you received your pardon?
I was already practicing.
Could you, in just one state, or was you able to?
One state, you have to pass the bar in multiple states, or you can practice on a federal or
both of y'all just
level.
In the state of Georgia?
Yes.
Yes.
You thought about going outside?
Yeah, but there's different ways. I mean, and plus that's all changing now too, a lot of the way. But sometimes over time, if you've been practicing a certain amount of time, you can waive into other states. So.
Oh, okay, you can waive versus not having to take the bar?
Right.
Have y'all
Or
considered
maybe
that?
just have to do the lawyer's written exam or something, a section or a portion of the bar exam in another state.
We've considered it because we thought about moving. So, you know.
Tired of Atlanta?
I am, to be quite frank. But it's a good home base. I mean, I've been here 20 years now. So, but I would like warmer weather, better weather.
You from Philly?
So, I mean, I like the cold.
It's cold down there, snow down there.
I don't want to go back to that. I don't live in Philly now. Because it's
Y'all just won.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Salute.
We on top.
Y'all just won, so you want to get out of there.
Yeah. I would much rather live somewhere sunnier.
Oh, okay.
Right now.
Like Houston.
I
Possibly.
like Houston,
wouldn't
and I like
rule
Houston's
out
weather.
Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hot and humid down
I've lived in California. We both lived in California.
Yeah.
We like California
we
as
do.
well.
there. They got too many.
She likes Arizona. I've been there I've lived there
But
for short
I could
periods of
live
time.
in California more than I would move back to Arizona. But I liked Arizona because the weather was hot. I love hot weather like that. So.
And you would practice out there?
At this point, yeah, we were waving.
Yes. Yeah.
It's always good to have your license.
Right.
Even
No matter
if you
where you go.
decide, not to take the practice with you. Because
Right.
technically, we could leave a practice going here and live somewhere else.
Well, y'all know it's always a great pleasure. I do want to say this here. We want to thank everybody for coming out. Pinpoint Podcast, and today we co-host with
Real Street Legal Media.
Real Street Legal Media. And they can't find you right now, but y'all are attorneys.
Yeah, but they
And what do
can.
y'all practice?
Personal injury.
Personal injury.
Personal injury. And if somebody wants to get in touch with y'all, do y'all have a way where they can contact y'all?
We have an email. You could just email info@rslegalmedia.com.
Absolutely.
Info at rslegalmedia.com or
Right.
Or info at
mlitgroup.com.
the what?
mlitgroup.com.
Lit. I want to spell that.
M as in Mary, L as in Lion, I as in ice cream, T as in Tom, group.com.
Group, G-R-O-U-P.
Oh, group.
So it'll be info@mlitgroup.com.
Yes.
That's a hell of a name.
Yeah.
Lit, right?
Lit.
Colors litigation.
Well, then if everybody want to contact y'all, they can contact y'all at MLit. And then y'all know our productions is Pinpoint Film Productions. We produce everything with Pinpoint Podcast. And we lately been joining with Al Yaka Productions.
That's
And
right.
If y'all want to find anybody with Al Yaka Productions, anything done with Pinpoint Films is with Pinpoint Films and Al Yaka. However, they do, whether you want a music video, whether you want you a different a wedding, whether you want to shoot you a small video, a small story or something. Don't contact us because we only do stuff for Pinpoint Film. But you can contact Al Yaka, Al Yaka Productions, and their website is he keep moving. www.alyaka productions with an S.com. That's alyakaproductions.com. You can contact and reach out to them. But y'all know we're gonna have more podcasts and then we're gonna sit down again with
Real Street Legal Media.
Real Street Legal Media, Sean and Serena
McCullers.
No, he is not a nun.
You said Serena Nunn
I say
McCullers.
Sean and Serena Nunn McCullough.
Yes.
Right? But it's Sean McCullough, Serena Nunn McCullough. He can't take on your last name.
No, Mrs. Serena
correction.
Nunn McCullers.
Let me say this correction. Mr. and Mrs.
Right.
McCullough.
There it is.
Let's just say that.
Absolutely.
But y'all,
That works.
at Pinpoint Podcast, we forgot one thing. I apologize. At the end, everything, all things is real estate. We missed the real estate because somebody got us into politics. But in the real estate note, I got to say this here. What are y'all real estate plans in the future? Because I know y'all purchased a home before. And I know
Purchased
y'all have
another
y'all
home.
own business.
Right.
But as far as in future with looking for an office location, what are the plans, real quick, the plans for
Our plans first are to find a new home to have our mothers be able to be in-house with us to focus on their care. Outside of that, we have two goals. One is to locate a pretty rural piece of property and make a purchase, and then buy some kind of multi-family unit that we can use, you know.
And that's what Pinpoint is about. PinpointBrokers.com. That's P as in Paul, E as in Echo, N as in Natalie, Point with an E on the end, brokers with an S. PinpointBrokers.com. If you're looking for any type of commercial property, you can reach us out to us. And you know Pinpoint.net and Pinpoint Foundation. Hey, this is Pinpoint Podcast. We hope y'all enjoyed. We hope if y'all looking for anything where Real Street Legal Media could accommodate you and advocate for you, reach out to them. They left you the website. If you looking for anything to do a podcast, I would Pinpoint Film, because we do our own.
Absolutely.
But Al Yaka Productions, guess what they can do? They can shoot for you. So give them a call. Hey, this Pinpoint, Mr. Menifee signing out. And you know I got to play my theme song.